Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have your sun in Cancer and your moon in Taurus. Already I can tell you that this is a harmonious angle called a sextile. Now technically an angle forms when two planets or 2 points are within a certain degree span apart. Sometimes it can be like 5 degrees, 6 degrees, up to 10 degrees if the sun or maybe moon are involved, I think. But we can say at least 5 or 6 degrees. But the closer the angle is, the more powerful the connection. But even if these two signs don't officially form a sextile, because of the elements that are involved, they are going to be on the same page or a relatively similar page. So it's going to be a good situation all the way around. Cancer is a water sign. Taurus is an earth sign. And I read it somewhere that the water nourishes the earth. You know, you think about when you're gardening, the water moistens that earth. Now, what does the earth do? Does it like sop up the excess water? Yeah, maybe. And therefore, if a Cancer person is too emotional, having that moon and earth can make them a little bit more grounded when it comes to things like that. So they're not just flying, what's the term? Like flying off the hook? I don't know if that's the right saying. But yeah, so it can give emotional balance. And actually, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So it's supposed to be functioning at the highest level. And probably, I don't think that I've ever fully figured that out. I've tried to look that up. I think what I would say is that because it's an earth sign, it really, and may be ruled by Venus too. It has that harmonious side to itself, but it also is fixed, so it is not wavering. The moon, rules Cancer, and the moon is associated with fluctuation. So if the moon is in Cancer, the person can be very fluctuating in their moods, and that's not necessarily a good thing because you want stability with your moods. If you're fluctuating, it means you can be all over the map. But definitely, even with, somebody's sun sign, we have to say that they are, if it's in water, so the 3 water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, that the person is coming in life from an emotional perspective, because the sun is really the central influence in a person's life. And so with water, there is that emotional perspective, but luckily the actual expression of their emotions is Taurus. So there may even be a practicality to the emotional expression where the person, or a logic. So I have said before that I feel that emotions are illogical. And sometimes people take exception to that, I would say. I've had comments to that. And basically what I mean by that is that emotions are reactions. Reactions are coming from past experiences. They're very personal to you. That's why 2 people can experience the same situation and have different reactions. I mean, as extreme as laughing or crying. Because one person, they don't take something as seriously as another. And by the way, there are times when people laugh when it's appropriate to cry, and that might be the illogical reaction. Having an earth sign for the moon position can filter that reaction so that the person actually asks themselves, okay, what is warranted here? Now, maybe that's just me because I have my moon in Virgo, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. But that, Virgo is an earth sign, and I'm analyzing my emotions before I'm actually feeling them. But I think that even Taurus can make sense of what they're feeling, and therefore they're not going to necessarily be that reactive. There might be a delayed response with the moon in Taurus, but it's important to note that a Taurus person, it's like the bull who gets goaded often enough. I mean, with anger, the moon in Taurus might be slow to anger, but they can erupt probably just as impressively as an Aries person if they are pushed long enough and pissed off repeatedly by someone or something. So it's important for somebody with the moon in Taurus to be able to let go of their anger in a way that is productive and that is not, built up, that is more immediate. Because I do think that that is a danger if the person is too laid back. And because, being ruled by Venus, Taurus may be not wanting to upset the apple cart or ruffle feathers, things like that. Just like Libra, the other sign ruled by Venus. And I think Libra is the one that we always associate with wanting to keep the peace. But I think Taurus can do the same and then still be angry about something and eventually just, let loose. But, you don't want to build things up like that. And also, you don't want to keep it inside either, because I feel like Taurus, the moon in Taurus, can build up resentments towards others. And that can also create issues because that Taurus is a fixed sign. So that can create blockages if the person isn't aware of it. And then the emotions are not free flowing, lack of forgiveness, in other words. So, this is definitely a combination for somebody who wants love, especially of a permanent variety. This is not the kind of combination for somebody who wants just that thrill of having affairs of the heart. A Taurus person loves very consistently and is not into dalliances, but long-term types of relationships. And Cancer is also, because Cancer rules the house of home and family, the fourth house. Cancer people will tend to be very oriented towards that. So this is something that you may be very interested in, but you have to be careful because you may be the kind of person, and I'm going to say a woman, but a man could very definitely do this as well, a male Cancer, where you go on a date and you already are planning a wedding. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to, you want to get to know somebody first and foremost. There could be times when this person has maybe Mars and Aries. I don't know. You could have Venus in Aries, I think. Venus can only be 45 degrees from the sun, I believe. So maybe an early Cancer, late Venus in Aries type of deal. But you could have Mars in Aries, and that would make you more, if you have a square between the sun and Mars, or just even having, it doesn't have to actually form a square, that you might just do things more, what's the word, rashly, impatiently, and without thinking. And or if you have Mars in Taurus, but it's forming a conjunction with your moon in Taurus, that could do the same thing, because that would act, that's an example of how an aspect can act in the way of another sign, because usually Taurus is known as being deliberate. So if you have Mars in Taurus, you may actually be very slow to moving. But if you have a conjunction with the moon in Taurus, and maybe even with the sun, if your Mars is in Cancer, but it's forming a conjunction with the sun, because it's in water, it's emotional. So with these two examples I'm giving, you might be more quick to move. And that could be disastrous if you're with the wrong person, because you may be just thinking, I want love, but you have to have it with somebody that's capable of giving that. And if you're not vetting another person very carefully, you may encounter like a narcissist who may present themselves in a very favorable manner while you're still in that courting phase, and then you move in with them or marry them, and you find out that they're not what they advertise themselves to be. And it's almost, it's kind of too late for that at that point. So being very aware of what exactly you're dealing with can be super important. It's funny. I just kind of, I just kind of zoned out. I was just thinking, oh, I think I have to take out my air conditioner right now. And I forgot I was recording. I'm just sitting here. I wonder if I can do this by myself. So another thing that this can give a person is good financial sense. The sun in Cancer wants to nest. It wants to have that security. The moon is intuitive, and it's also coming from that feminine principle. It's interesting, the moon rules Cancer. So the moon is looking for that emotional security. And with money, sometimes people will attach, since we have the moon in Taurus, and Taurus rules the second house of finances, the person may feel the most secure when they have what they perceive to be enough money. So this combination can be very good for making and keeping money, especially saving money, and that can influence the type of work that you're doing, whether it's working in the banking industry, being an accountant, being, if you're an investor, investment banking, that sort of thing. In love, be careful of being too possessive. Taurus rules the second house of money and possession, so of course that can be the person. Taurus is known for jealousy, and that's where possessiveness comes in. This is mine. What are you doing? Taurus is a sensual sign because it is ruled by Venus. So sometimes a person may find themselves, they may confuse love and lust. With the moon position, be careful of that kind of tendency where you think that you're in love with somebody, but really you are physically attracted to them. And if they are not the right person, you could be involved in a relationship and trying to build a life with somebody just based on physical desire. And eventually, the incompatibility will come out. Cancer is looking for somebody who has sympathy for them, or that could be more of the shadow side of things. And maybe that shows up more with the moon in Cancer than the sun, but definitely somebody who's sensitive. So Cancer people sometimes are attracted to Aries individuals, and if so, you may find that that person is not particularly sensitive. And so that could cause a lot of miscommunication, I would say, because it may not be that that person is really insensitive. It's just that they don't really experience life in the same way. So for them, it's like, oh, you had that. Oh, sorry that happened to you. But they're ready to move on to the next thing. And you want somebody to hold your hand and to kind of commiserate with you or what have you. So if you find yourself attracted to earth signs, you may be exasperated because they're trying to solve your problems for you and you want them in the pity pot with you. And I'm kind of being slightly facetious. But watch out for your own hypersensitivity and your need for other people to conform to your emotional expectations. Try to see the intention behind what people are doing as it pertains to your situations. If you need somebody who can help you through some kind of emotional crisis, that you're able to appreciate it. Because luckily for you, since you have the moon in Taurus, you may not need to create any kind of crisis. And you may try to rationalize a situation and put it in proper perspective. Anything else I want to say? Well, professions that this would be great for are, like I said, the financial and also maybe teaching, early childhood, being a restaurateur. Both of these houses these signs represent can have to do with food, I believe, nourishing. So that can be like something to do with like a restaurant, or even just a chef as well. And so I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.